episode of Gravity Blues, the podcast where myself and my co-host Ren explore our Earth and extraterrestrial concerns and interests. How you doing, Ren?
Doing great. I just was commenting. We're looking sharp here. We got the fresh cut on
Yeah,
Alex.
yes, sir. Yeah. Over the weekend, I was like, I don't know. I've been kind of rocking the same haircut for like the last few months, and usually around the summertime, I like to get it shorter, just a little bit cooler, for my head. But by the time I actually was getting it cut, and it wasn't really too hot. But this weekend, it's been,
Yeah.
we've been a little toasty. It was like in the 80s today, so
Yes,
I
89
guess I
now,
got it
really.
at the right time. Yeah,
It's almost
yeah. It
90.
was actually. I was, and this is like the first time like the pool at my apartment opened up, so it's been like the first time to go. But
Mm.
I don't know. I was like, it's hard on like a weekday to like be motivated to do
Yeah.
something like that. If it's like a weekend, I'm like, all right, yeah, I'll go. Throw my trunks on, get some
Yeah. We'll
sunscreen
see if
on.
it's
But
nice out. Maybe
yeah,
I'll go find my pool too. If there's
yeah,
my
there we
building
go.
has a pool, but I haven't ever been to it, so I have to go
No,
find it.
yeah, I've been at my place for like 2 years now. And
Mm.
I've only gone a few times. It's kind of bad.
You gotta use it,
That's another thing. I need to use my amenities. So,
Yeah.
but I guess another thing related to my apartment, or I guess not my apartment, but the location
Okay.
of my apartment. So, when I moved in, like the kind of like there's like the highway is pretty close to where I'm at, and there's like the exit I usually get off, which is about like a minute away from my apartment. So everything it's really close to kind of get on and off, and right by this exit, there's like a Wendy's, an Arby's, McDonald's, like a Subway, like a few fast food places, but there was this like abandoned like building, and I think it used to be like a Burger King, and like a few months ago they started like doing construction on it, and it seemed like they were going to like turn it into something else, not a Burger King. And I had heard a rumor it was a specific place, and this rumor made me sad. And I honestly, it might be a blessing and curse, because probably don't need to eat as much fast food. It's definitely not the best, but there are times where it's like, all right, I don't feel like cooking, I'm just going to go get that because it's like a minute away and takes a minute for me to get it. But the rumor I heard was this place, they were turning this Burger King into a Long John Silver's.
Mm.
And I'm like, who the hell eats at Long John Silver's? Like, I'm right on the lake, so I don't know if it's like something with that, but even that, it's like, why? It's like the like stupidest like
I gotta
fast food.
say, I don't think
No.
I've ever been to Long John Silver's.
I think I've been there one time.
Yeah.
And that was because it was like a Taco Bell and
Slash Long John.
Long John Silver's mix or whatever.
Mm.
So when I heard that rumor, I'm like, okay, maybe they're like bringing back like because there's a Taco Bell like 10-15 minutes away,
Yeah,
which
are they the same
isn't far,
company?
but maybe it
Because
might be.
I know
I
Long
feel like that's
John.
probably a bit. I feel like that's probably, at least with a few of the fast food chains, they're probably owned by the same entity.
They're owned by. Let's see, because I know they're owned by somebody else that's like a bigger company. Let's see. Oh, wait a second. They
Oh,
happen to be. I'm on their Wikipedia right now because I was curious what they
okay.
said. They were founded in Lexington, Kentucky, which is my
Oh,
hometown, which is
that's a
crazy.
weird place for it to be
Yeah,
founded, and I
yeah.
feel like.
Now they've moved to Louisville. Apparently, it's their headquarters, but
Mhm.
but still pretty cool. Yeah, they have 385 locations. Founded in my hometown. I've
Surprising.
never eaten this place, never in my life. So this is
No.
a little crazy.
Yeah, like okay, I'll definitely, when it's new and open, I'll definitely try it. But like, because I did
Uh,
hear they have like hush puppies, and I've heard the hush puppies are good. But
it's a seafood.
like I was saying, yeah, it's seafood, like
Yeah.
seafood,
Okay.
and
Well, it's
but yeah, they
here we
got
go.
some like southern stuff.
Yorkshire Global Restaurants has the owner. Or wait, the with Louisville's with Louisville, Kentucky based Tricon Global, owner of KFC, Pizza Hut, and Taco Bell. So they've also got KFC and Pizza Hut in there.
Okay, so Taco Bell, they have the same
Yeah,
owner at
yeah.
Taco Bell then. Okay, so that makes sense. So yeah, I don't. It seems like they don't do those like mixes anymore. Like I feel like growing up, that was like a big thing,
Oh
where
yeah.
it was like two fast food places in one, and I'm sure for all those places it was the
Now,
same
I'll
people
say
owning them.
this is coming up with that they also co-branded with A&W, so it could be an A&W Long John Silver. Is it just a
I
Long
don't think
John
I've
Silver
ever.
you're just getting?
It's just I think it's just Long John. I looked it up.
That's
So like
tough.
there isn't. They're still in like construction and stuff, and so it's like I haven't seen like an actual physical thing, but I like did some digging
Mm.
in my cities, like whatever. I just looked up. I looked up my city, and I looked up Long John Silver's, and there was a paper on it. And I was
No,
like, damn
no.
it, you know. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I'll
very
say
sad.
I do love some A&W. Now that is horrible for you, but
Yeah.
you get like the giant cheeseburger, the cheese curds are fantastic there,
Ooh.
which deliciously horrible
Hmm.
for you, and then like a milkshake or a root beer, come on.
That's food for your
Dude.
soul. You
Okay,
know.
wait, crazy thing. When I was in high school, I had like an internship at like a law firm, and then like it was right across from the A&W, so often I would go there for lunch, as one
Hmm.
does. And one day I was sitting there eating a burger, and in high school, just chilling, eating my burger at lunch, and this dude walks up, like finely dressed guy, like not like, not auspicious or anything, just comes up. My burger was like half eaten on the table in front of me, right? I was on my phone scrolling. He comes up, takes a bite of my burger right in front of me, says thanks, dips.
That's crazy.
I was like, I literally stunned. You know what I mean? Like, what do you do in that situation?
You got to have massive balls to be able to
Yeah,
do something like that.
just go
Like
up and eat somebody else's food. That's crazy.
yeah,
So there you go.
first off, that's just like a dick move. But second off, it's like eating. So I would never want to eat
No.
someone else. I don't know their food. Like
Well,
just
it's
pick it
it's
up and like
nice he ate the other side at least. You know what I mean?
oh
So
oh,
like
not
the
the part that you already were
yeah.
chewing
So
in.
I had
Okay,
like half
just
eaten
the
it.
part your hands were
Yeah,
touching.
exactly. It's still
Like
weird.
yeah,
Mm,
yeah. That's
a little crazy.
that's like a Black Mirror episode or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, oh, okay, crazy.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing that's gonna happen across the street from you. So you enjoy that at your Long John
I'm
Silver.
gonna avoid that
Dude,
then.
we might have
So
to
you're, mhm.
we might have to go do a Long John Silver try, and see
Yeah, we could do
what it's
the
like.
mukbang. We get everything on the menu.
Oh
Well,
God,
yeah. Well, you were mentioning how bad A&W was. I
no,
was
it's
watching a
delicious.
video. Well, no, I mean like in terms of like health
Oh
wise,
yeah,
like you
yeah.
said it was really bad for you. And then I was watching a video and someone was going through the Long John Silver's menu, and I guess one of their menu items was like voted as the unhealthiest like fast food
Oh
item
my
in the world
gosh,
or like in America. So
we're just gonna
yeah, I
die.
got that. I heard though that they took that off the menu though.
Mm.
So maybe I'm okay.
Yeah, well,
But
that's what you would be getting every time otherwise, right? So
right, yeah. I got to get the most and start bulking up. I got to
the
get all the
super,
calories
but it's
in.
probably like this fish. So it's like the super cod. You're like, can I get the
Yeah,
super cod?
it literally was. It was like this like crazy like fish
Mm.
combo platter thing, and it was just. I saw pictures. I'm like, this thing looks
I
disgusting.
know I've
Just
talked about it
it's
on the
like
pod, but that reminds me of
yeah,
the Taco Bell had the Tres Lupe, and
yeah.
it was three chalupas combined, and they were all different. That's like the kind of thing, and they're the same owners, so this makes total sense. But I bet it was like that. It was like, what if we took a fried cod, fried salmon, and fried something else, and we just smashed them together, and people
Man,
ate
and
that.
there was a time where you could have gotten both of those things at the same
Oh,
location.
oh,
Like,
dude, we
yeah,
live in a lesser era. That was the era
yes.
of
That
greatness.
was peak. That was
That's
peak
peak,
peak
the country peak.
living
Now you
was
go to
when
the
you get the
fast food
Trace
place,
Lopez
you go
and
to
the super.
the Taco Bell or the, Long John Silver's, and they have, the calories on every item. And like, I
Mhm.
appreciate that as somebody that is health conscious, but also
Yeah,
it makes it pretty damn hard to order there, because I'm like, am
yeah,
I gonna get the 1,500 calorie item? Not if I know. I don't want to know.
right,
That's why I'm at Taco
right.
Bell. You know what I mean? So it's like,
You should, this should, like, they should have that information, like maybe like a website that, if you
mm,
really want to know, you'll get it, but maybe not like when you go in there because that's a little like,
or
it
on the it'll
makes
have
me
the
feel
menu
bad
app.
about
You know how they're like electronic anyway, right? So it'll have
myself.
the menu, and then like every 10 seconds it'll be like 3, 2, 1, and then it'll flash the calorie count, and then
So you
it'll
can close
take,
your eyes.
and then you close it away. So I can look up and go, okay, that one, and then not look again. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's my choice. Talk
Yes.
about give us choice. Like the
Hmm.
knowledge I don't want to know.
Yeah. You should only want to know. Like, if you want to know, that's cool.
Yeah,
But
no, no,
I'm
if
going here for a reason, and
exactly.
it's not to know.
Dude, even
So
like Top Golf has the calories on there, and that kills me
really,
because it's like
really,
it's got the yeah, it's like they only have like 15 food items, and they're all like 900 calories. Like
yeah, it's like burgers and
yeah,
crazy sandwiches and like loaded fries, and
like I'm aware that it's probably a lot. I'm just saying it's too much.
they
It has
should
too
like
much.
not. They should also not show the price of the food too, because it's like ridiculously
Well,
expensive. But it's like, what am I gonna do? Not eat when I'm at Top Golf?
yeah,
It's like it
yeah.
makes me feel bad. It's like same
Like
with the
I
calories.
know
It's
I'm
like,
gonna leave and go. How is my bill $300? Like
yep.
that's just part of Top Golf, and that's
That's
just the
yeah.
joy.
You should know that before going. Just a
Yeah.
little disclaimer.
And then you go home and sleep off the 4,000 calories you ate, slash drink.
Well, you're doing some physical activity when you're at Top Golf. You're
A little
swinging.
bit,
You're
a little bit.
kind of,
And then you go sit down.
yeah. And then you get you're
This,
getting like probably like I'm trying to think of like how much time you're actually swinging
yeah,
the club when you're there.
you
Like
must be
if you're
sitting.
like doing it for like an hour, you're probably only doing it for like 5 minutes or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Something
Well, and the
something.
thing is, like, if you're at like a regular golf course, like I'm a walker at the golf course. If you're doing
Yeah.
9, not 18, obviously, but so like if you walk and you carry your bag around, you're getting some workout in. You will be working hard.
Yeah.
But if you are sitting down at the Top Golf and just you swing and then you go sit down again, it's like you're not burning much, but that's how it
No.
goes. Golf, man. Speaking of sports, tell
Yeah.
tell me
Yes.
about tell me about this.
Yeah. Well, I know. You're a big fan of Tyler Hero, right? Like kind of,
Yeah.
little bit, little bit of fame.
Bring the snarl out.
Well, you might be seeing that at Ohio State's men's basketball games here in the future. I don't
Oh,
know. I don't know if his brother does it, but his brother just committed to Ohio State for basketball. So
okay.
we're going to be seeing
What's his
some.
brother's
I think
name?
his name is. I think it's Miles Hero.
That's
Let
terrible.
me double check that.
That sucks.
Miles Hero.
I'm a
It's
you
either
know
Miles or Mason. Yeah, it's Miles.
I'm a tough critic. That Miles is not cool.
Yeah.
Miles Hero, it could be so much better. Name him Guitar. He could be Guitar Hero.
Oh,
That would be
they were.
sweet.
Well, yeah, well. Wait, let me see how old he is because if he was, so he's like probably 18, right?
Yeah,
So he was born in like 2007. That's crazy.
yeah,
That might. I don't think Guitar Hero had enough traction by
yeah. But
then.
okay, well then, whatever you want to call him.
Change his
I
name.
feel like Miles is not cool. Tyler, like I've accepted, like it's already, but you can't have the last name Hero and then
What?
whiff on Tyler and then go Miles. It's like that's
Wait,
come on.
wait, wait. Guitar Hero 3 came out in 2007 too. Let me see this dude's
Shh.
birthday. I gotta see his birthday.
Well, it's okay. You know what though? Do they share a birthday? Because that'd be crazy. They're twins. Then I get it. Then they can't be. He can't be Guitar because his twin brother's Guitar.
I'm trying to find.
I will Google what
Oh wait,
Miles.
no, he was born in 2006.
Okay, well, so he can't.
He's 19. So he was
Let's see.
before Guitar Hero 3. So
Okay, well,
you know,
he could still be Guitar
I
Hero.
can't blame. Right? Yeah, I would just change my name.
Well, no.
Tyler
You know
Hero
what?
could do that too, but
If don't be this. I'll say this. I don't know how you feel about this, but if your brother is a famous athlete that has like a signature move that he hits, like the snarl, like Tyler Hero does, and
yeah, yeah,
people
yeah.
like he's a decent player, right? I don't think he's not
Yeah,
some like
he's a good player.
yeah.
I'd say he's good.
So he's got his brand, right? As his brother, don't lean into the brand and go, I'm just a shadow of my brother. Make your own brand, and Miles, I'll pitch you on this. When you hit a basket, do a little, you
Get a
know,
little solo,
little solo,
little
and
tap.
then we'll call you Guitar Hero. That's how you get it done.
Yeah, yeah. So you don't have to change your name. We'll just like because like for example, the Cavs best player Donovan Mitchell, his nickname is Spida.
Mm.
Donovan Spida Mitchell, and most people call him by his nickname. It's not
Yeah.
even his real name, you know. So
Does he
you
do
could
like
adopt something like that. No, but the one thing that's he doesn't do that, but the one thing he does that's cool is when he dunks it, which he doesn't he dunks, but he doesn't like he's not one of the biggest dunkers in the
mm,
NBA, but when he dunks, it's like usually pretty like ferocious. But he'll sometimes do something where he like kind of hangs on the
oh
rim,
yeah,
like kind of like he's like Spider-Man a little bit.
that's
So
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's like he could do something like that,
No, yeah,
like
so
get a
like
victory,
you know,
start strumming.
Chelsea has a player named Cole Palmer, and they call him Cold. And his goal celebration, he just a little shiver. So it's like
Yeah.
that's pretty sweet. That's how you get the brand going. Okay, Miles,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just letting you know. That's how you
Well,
get it done.
did they call him that?
I think
Like, did
he
he do the celebration and then they called him that, or was
no.
it like
So
the other way
they
around?
called him Cold, and then the next, I think it was like the next game, he did the shiver, and people were like,
That's
"Oh, that's sweet."
that's sweet.
Yeah,
So he was just like, all right, I love it.
yeah, he's into it.
Let's make this my thing,
That's
my
so good.
brand.
We're telling you though, although Miles, I'll say this: if you start doing that, you start doing a little,
Hmm.
we do want we have copyright over that, over you doing
Yeah,
that. That's ours.
you could if you want to throw us on your I don't know, not management, but you want to some other good ideas for your brand.
Yeah, we got
We
you.
could cook something up. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
We just
We'll talk. We'll talk. Um,
transition into NBA agents for you.
yeah,
That's just
we
we
can
can
we
do
can
it
make it
all.
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. Okay,
Yes, sir.
let's do movies, and then we'll loop
Yeah.
back. Um,
Sure.
I want to throw out my recommendation of the week, my film of the week. I've just
Yeah.
watched Mountainhead. It's just come out. It's on
Mm.
HBO. Um, Now this one is I've seen some mixed reaction to, so like I'm kind of interested in that. I liked it a lot. It's the guy that did it's Jesse Armstrong who did Succession, and it's a movie that he's done. Um, it's got like a lot. It's about these business guys who are billionaires, and they're like old friends. I think that it's hinted at that like they all like came out of a like an incubator together and then went and did their own
Hmm.
businesses. So like they have different amounts of money, but they're all billionaires except for one of them has like a half a mil or half a bill, and it's kind of
What a wimp.
the setup is that they meet up like annually or semi-annually. They don't really talk about that, but they meet up every so often, the four of them, and just hang out. These like four, very wealthy guys, very successful guys, and one of them, Steve Carell. Like all four of them are very good. One of them is Jason Schwartzman. Those are probably the two
Mhm.
biggest names in this, and they meet up and they like have like a poker night and stuff for like a few days, and I think they're in Utah, like in the mountains. It's pretty cool. And this compound that he has, the Jason Schwartzman character set up, is called Mountainhead, which the play it's like very they openly say it in the movie. One of the characters gets there and goes, Mountainhead, like Fountainhead, and then he looks
Mhm.
around. And he goes, "Is your interior decorator Ein Bland?" And I was like, "That's pretty good." And they're just like
Yeah.
letting you know that it's like they're leaning into that energy earlier. There's a great moment also like very early on where Jason Schwartzman character is trying to like work on his pitch because he wants his buddies to like invest in his app, and he's like trying to figure out how to ask for $1 billion, and he goes, "If you put a billion, oh, if you put a B one," and he's like, "No, it doesn't work." And he goes, "A B nut. If you put a B nut in this, it'll birth into a unicorn." And he goes, "That's the
Oh,
one." And I was like, "Oh my
yeah.
god!" But and it's like filled with that kind of like horrible business slang, like
Yep.
yeah, but it's really good about AI. So like has that kind of going for it. I liked it a lot. I'd put like a 4.5 out of 5 for me. Um, I've seen a lot of negative reviews on there too, where people are like, "What is this?" Like they don't like. It's very much a you got these four guys doing dialogue and they're talking and it's exciting like in their dialogue, but it's not like an action movie, so you're not gonna get that kind of
Mhm.
energy from it. But
Yeah.
definitely worth a watch.
Yeah, I can't remember. I feel like you maybe mentioned this movie like in a previous pod or
Oh
something,
yeah,
but you said it just came out?
yeah. This last weekend.
Okay,
So
cool, cool. Yeah, that sounds interesting. Yeah, because I don't think I've watched any new like because was it directly to HBO?
yeah, it's direct to
Huh.
streaming. Yes, it didn't even go to theater. But I think he
Okay,
made it. I think it was intended from the beginning. And to be honest,
gotcha.
I don't think this movie would have done even with the cast it has, which I think is really good. Like even the other guys I didn't name, there's mainly four cast members, and they're all quite
Mhm,
good in this. But yeah, I don't think it would have done well at the theater, to be honest, because it just doesn't have like
gotcha.
a mass appeal. I think, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I guess you could see it like coming from Succession, maybe feeling just like a really long episode of something, but
yeah,
like in a more
yeah.
like fleshed out way.
Yeah, I wonder. I didn't look this up, so I can look this up real quick. I'm curious of what his budget was for this because like it is like this giant house. Uh, yeah, it's not published, so
Oh, okay. Yeah, because if it was because it was all at the same location, right? So it probably a lot of it went into
yeah, just the cast.
securing that single location
Yeah,
and yeah, the cast and yeah, whatever. Yeah, because it's not like an action movie either where you need like crazy,
yeah.
crazy effects or
There's
anything
no
like that.
effects at all. Like it honestly, like if you use the characters from Succession, you probably could have he probably could have made like a very similar story to this.
Mhm.
Uh, and so like it has that energy. It's a little bit more like oh these characters are all dicks like that kind of thing, but in a
Yeah.
fun way for me. And yeah, so I think it's
Mhm.
if you're just like chilling and you don't have anything else, like this is a decent little movie to watch. And I like everything he's
Mhm.
ever done. So
Yeah. Yeah, has he done other movies
he's done other
before? Anything that
movies.
I might know?
He's mostly been in the TV world through his career.
Okay.
So he did like Peep Show was like his first early work with which was like a this legendary British like sitcom. They have like it's only like 6 episodes a season, but it's
Mm.
so good, dude. It's like
Hmm.
unbelievably good. Um, and then he did like a couple other British like television shows before Succession. So actually, he did like comedy, and then Succession has comedic moments, but it's
Yeah,
very
yeah, yeah.
yeah. And so like that was the big switch, and all of the writers on that show are like former people that did comedy, and so like it's fun to see them do like that kind of drama. And then this is like that same shtick of like it's serious, but the characters are being funny, and like the way they interact is funny, even though it's like they're super shitty, you know. And it's like that's
Yeah.
what the humor is, you know.
Yeah, and it's just everything's like so casual to them where it's
Yeah.
like this is like ridiculous. Like I just watched last night for the first time. I just watched The Menu,
Oh yeah.
and that is filled with shitty people.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm just like watching this, and like it feels real because people are actually like this, but
Yeah.
I can't contemplate actually being that way and like just like not second guessing like an action like yeah no
Yeah.
morals I'm just
Was that your first time seeing that?
it was actually surprised. So I think I tried watching it like like a year after it came out, like yeah, maybe 2023 or something. But I think I like it was like really late in the night, so I like fell asleep or something like early
Mm.
on, and I think I just never went back to it. And I was like, I saw it on I think it was Amazon Prime. I was like, oh crap,
Yeah.
I gotta watch that because from what I heard, it sounded like right up my alley. I
Yeah.
really
No,
like
totally up
it.
your
I give
alley.
I give that like a 4.5 out of 5. It
And
really really funny. Is actually I
yeah,
felt
so funny.
it was like more of a comedy than like a
Yeah,
thriller or
it's definitely
horror
I
or
wouldn't call
anything.
it horror, although there's parts
Yeah,
of it. I'd say thriller,
yeah,
right? Like a thriller with
yeah,
maybe,
thriller. Yeah,
but
like
but
comedy thriller.
but I mean, you know, those three actors,
Oh yeah,
beloved by our podcast, Ray Fiennes, Anya
yes.
Taylor-Joy, and Nicholas Hoult. Like,
Nicholas Holt. Dude,
it's
he was
himself.
actually he made me laugh that whole he was probably the like the worst person out of them all, and he made me laugh the like entire time, which is like how like because I'm like I know people like that or who act like that, and it's just like yeah,
Me,
this is
I act like
no, not like no,
that.
you don't do that. I feel like I could do some stuff like that, but I'm just like, this is there's a little twist at the end
Yeah,
too with his character and Anya Taylor Joy's character and um, but yeah, no, that was
that's a great
a sick
movie,
watch.
and
Yeah,
I mean, kind of Ray Fiennes like really doing his thing. I mean,
yeah,
it's
he's
like,
awesome.
in that he's like both charming and creepy, and like that is who he is. Like he can come off
Yeah,
either way because he's Voldemort, right? And so he could do
hmm
like like the crazy like over the top, but in that he's kind of like
yeah,
reserved, and it's like hitting both. So it's sweet.
yeah. And for a long time, I didn't even know he was Voldemort. Just because I
Yeah,
wasn't like too plugged into the um, like kind of movie sphere and actors and it's hard too when you have someone like that where they got so much makeup on, but
yeah,
once you realize it, you're like, oh crap, he look
yeah,
that's him. So um, yeah, no, he was awesome. Like I'm like I said the first time I like fell asleep, so I didn't really I didn't remember anything, but I was like watching. I'm like, yeah, this is his role. This is his like yeah, didn't really have any doubt that it was that part was gonna be bad. So
yeah. I'm glad that
um,
he's getting like big attention after Conclave, and
yeah,
because and he was in a movie last year about the Odyssey, which was interesting, and where he was like stringy and ripped and is weird, but it's like he's a great actor. Everything he's in, he's really good in, and like you can tell that he
yeah,
cares a lot and like works really hard to like get this specific thing every time. And so I'm glad he's starting to get like, he's the probably like most people. I think if you said, "Do you know who Ray Fiennes is?" or even if you said Ralph Phineas, they'd be like, "I have no idea," and you'd be like, "Well, you probably seen him in something because
right, very very underrated,
yeah,
and but like you said, he's definitely getting some more
yeah,
recognition now after last year. So
yeah."
I'm sure that'll even grow larger. I guess I got to ask you because maybe we'll cover it in a different pod.
No, no.
Right? Were you
Tell
planning on?
me. Yeah, yeah.
Oh
I
yeah,
haven't seen it
I was gonna
yet,
say.
but tell me.
Okay, yeah. So I saw the movie Friendship this past weekend as well in theaters, and just like Tim Robinson. You probably have seen like his sketches before. Very very funny.
Is he doing his Tim
And
Robinson thing? Like, is he like?
oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
this movie feels like just a long sketch, and I guess coming out of it, I did like it. There were some the most uncomfortable and bizarre scenes in this movie I've ever like encountered, and like there were parts where I'm just like in the theater and I'm just like I can't like this is
really?
like making me cringe so hard. But like that is a part of his his
Yeah.
humor and um but I guess walking away from it, I liked it, but at the same time, I don't feel like I would go see it again because I feel like I can just kind of get the same thing
Hmm.
out of one of his sketches, which are a lot shorter, and I can kind of go from sketch to sketch, and I'll have which this is more of just like a whole running sketch. So, but I did like it, and I love the like kind of the risks they took with it because it was there were some parts I'm like what like who the hell even thinks of this and like how do they get through filming this and
Yeah.
during production. So yeah, I did like it, but yeah, I think I gave it like a like 3.5 out of 5 stars, so 7 out of 10. So I
Yeah.
liked it, but
Well, yeah. So
it
when I
was
saw that, like that was
mhm.
announced and it's called Friendship, and it has Paul Rudd, right? Obviously,
Yeah,
I was like, oh, like I Love You, Man. Like
yeah,
with
yeah,
Paul
yeah, I
Rudd
get those
and
vibes.
Jason Segel, and
Mhm.
I was like, oh, that sounds fun. Like I like that movie, and I don't see Tim Robinson really doing the Jason Segel thing. So is this kind of like a
No.
twisted version of that, or is it his
Yes.
own thing?
Yes, and I think they even, that's in their promotion, that I've been seeing is like, "I love you, man," for, like, weirdos or
Okay.
something like that. Yeah, so, yes, that's a great, that's a, like, kind of a great relation there, but, yeah, I would say I think I enjoy "I Love You, Man" more
Yeah.
just because that's something that's, like, I don't, like, have I'm not there's not parts where I'm just like, oh my goodness," but there are some, like, really funny scenes,
Oh
like
yeah.
comedy gold scenes, and um, like I guess yeah. There's this one part. I won't spoil what actually happens, but he like goes on like a trip. Like he like licks a toad and goes on a trip, and it's like his like actual trip is like the stupidest thing ever, and like it like lasts like less than a minute, and the guy comes back, he's like, dude, how long did your thing last? It like last like 3 to 4 months or something, and he comes back, he's like all pissed off. It was like less than a minute, and it was like didn't like tell him anything because he was trying to get answers. But yeah, I won't spoil what the
Okay.
trip actually is,
I'll
because
have to check it
it
out.
was pretty funny. Yeah, I definitely recommend checking it out, but yeah, I don't know if I would personally check it out another time, I
Yeah.
guess. So,
Fair enough.
um, but yeah, good. It was a fun time in the theater. So, another thing I saw, is that they are doing a King of the Hill revival. I'm not sure if did you watch that growing up at
I
all?
didn't really know. So, but I
Mhm.
just saw that
Yeah,
one of the actors got killed, right?
yeah. Johnny Redcorn, I think, is his name
Hmm.
in there. But yeah, that I was gonna bring that up too because
Yeah.
that's really
Well,
sad. He
it's a
was like just
horrible.
protecting his yeah, it's
Yeah.
like a hate crime, and he was
Yeah.
like protecting his husband and stuff, and it's yeah,
Dude,
really
this
messed
yeah,
up
this the story
stuff.
is really terrible. Like I read
Yeah,
the thing about it and I was like, that's yeah. So it really
yeah,
really terrible, and I hope that
hmm
justice is served in that case.
of
But yeah,
course.
but interesting that
Hmm
this is when it's announced that they're gonna remake the
Yeah,
show. Like,
and it happened like a day after or something, or a
oof.
day after the announcement. So, yeah, really just crazy timing and a crazy terrible thing that happened. But I guess it'll be interesting to like. I'm definitely gonna watch it. I think it's on Hulu, and I watched King of the Hill a little bit growing up. I didn't watch it like religiously, but I definitely watch my fair share of episodes, and I think this new revival is just kind of Bobby, who is Hank Hill's son, is now like an adult. So I don't know how old, but I think it's just kind of later in the future. So,
Yeah.
but it seems like it'll be a lot of the same characters and stuff for the new season. But yeah, definitely interesting. Definitely interested to see how it is to um, compared to the old show, and like if any of the commentary changed at all. But but yeah, just wanted to throw that out there in case that was something you watched as a kid and didn't know was on the horizon. Because I like when they do the revival shows, but I
Hmm.
feel like they don't always land the best. Like it's a cool idea, but um, I don't know if it's just we're just doing this because we
Well,
can
you say
make some
that,
money.
but like Futurama, they brought back like 15 times thing, and they
Yeah.
keep bringing it back. It was different, like it's been on different like channels, and they keep moving
Mhm.
around. And then like Simpsons obviously is still going, and I feel like those are fairly similar, and their concepts of what they're doing, right? So
Yeah. Well, and then even like Family Guy originally was like canceled after season 3 or season
wow,
4,
yeah.
I think. And then they brought it back
Are they still
after,
going with
and
it
then
too?
they're still making
Yeah,
they're still making episodes. It's crazy. It's like on that level of The Simpsons with
I
how
I
long
I
things are
just
going.
saw the one actor from Family Guy. What's his name?
Seth MacFarlane,
Yeah,
or is
Seth
it
MacFarlane. Yeah, Seth MacFarlane.
yeah.
He apparently just released like a an album where he's like singing old Sinatra songs.
Oh, that's actually awesome.
But it's like what,
That's sick.
and I guess and he's like he's kind of good at singing, and I was like I would never have guessed that like
You
he just has that,
you know, I can see it because there are so many just random cutaways in those episodes of just like them doing like a little musical number,
Yeah,
and I'm just
true.
like, this is so. And it's like the singing is really good, and he does a few of the voices on the show, but
Yeah,
there's other people too that do the singing as well. But he specifically, yeah, I definitely know he has a pretty good voice. But yeah, Sinatra, that's not like
yeah.
definitely not the easiest person to do
Well,
some
I
covers
think it
of.
was like the reporting on it was that these were like unfinished Frank Sinatra songs that he's gone in and like finished and done
Get the vault.
which is kind of crazy. It's like to be fair, like okay, cool, he could sing, but is he the guy that's like to be trusted with these vault songs? I mean,
You
I
know,
guess.
I guess we'll see. Like, if this is going to get the vaulted song like some daylight, then
Yeah,
maybe it's good. But yeah, hopefully he doesn't just butcher them. But I feel like he usually has like a pretty like love, like kind of devotion to his craft and love for
no,
his
sure.
craft, where he's not going to just like I don't know. I guess now you could say like yeah, the current Family Guy stuff probably isn't as I don't know. I haven't watched it a ton, but from what I've seen,
Well,
hasn't
I don't think he
been
writes it
nearly.
anymore.
Oh, is he not a part of it anymore? Okay, well maybe that
I think
explains it.
I read like a whole thing because I was like curious about this, and so he
Mhm.
doesn't do any of the writing. He just does the voices now,
Okay.
and
Okay.
so
Well, maybe that could explain it a little bit too. But and he's done other great stuff
yeah,
outside of like he was at TED, like he
Ted,
was
yeah.
TED. That's great. That's great stuff.
He has a it's a pretty decent little Star Trek spoof called like the
Yeah.
Orville, which is fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right,
I've never checked that out, but it looks funny.
let's jump and let's talk some music because
Yes.
you know, where I have my film of the week, I want to hear your album of the week.
Yeah. Yes. Well, also I was also thinking, because we did the first, install of Ren's Rec of the Week last pod, and I'm like,
Okay.
let's do one for both music and film, and then we can make a little post about it, like on
Yes.
the Instagram afterwards. Just like kind of just little summary of what we're talking about on the pod, and
Yeah.
showing love, and it doesn't even have to be like yeah, we watch a lot of like new movies and shows
Yeah.
and listen to a lot of new music, but it doesn't even have to be that either. If there's nothing good out to talk about, it could always be whatever. But yeah, this my album of the week is a new album. It came out last Friday, and it's the first album and I believe 8 years from the artist Planning for Burial, which is just one guy, and he records all the guitars, the vocals, the drums, the bass, the synthesizers. He does it all, and I think he even's like a one man band on the road too, which I don't really know how he does it. And I'm kind of sad he's like coming to Columbus, but it's like next week on a weekday,
Mm.
and I'm not gonna be able to go. So, but yeah, it's really interesting when you hear this music and you're like, damn, one person was able to put all this together. But it's under one of my favorite music labels, the Flenser. They also have that Chat Pile band I've talked about before, and a few other bands that are pretty good heavy music. But yeah, this group, they put out their first, or he put out his first album in 8 years. The title of it is it's Closeness, It's Easy. I guess I'd say is very like sonically heavy album.
Hmm.
Like the guitars are very like very heavy and a little like shoegazy too, I'd say. So like lots of kind of sound coming together, and I think the part I like about this album the most, outside of it like being very heavy and kind of sounding like a little like apocalyptic. I don't know, like when some of these like builds kind of come together. But my favorite part actually is the vocals, which is probably the strangest part of this album because the vocals are very quiet, but with how loud the guitars are, it kind of sounds like Tom um, is like kind of screaming
Mm-hmm.
through the guitars just to try and like he's like just trying to get through the noise, and you could like interpret that as just trying to scream through the daily things of life, and whatever is like, and that's kind of like the vibe I get from the music, and the also the lyrics too is just like dealing with life, dealing with loss. I think a big part of this album was he had a cat for like that lived, I think, like 17 years. So he recently, lost, a big part of his life,
Yeah.
So that was really sad. And there's a few, I think there's a few songs on there that kind of like hint towards that, but he also talks about that in his lyrics. And then also just like, he's in his like mid 30s or maybe 40s. And just talking about, yeah, kind of be middle aged and like, hard to like get out of bed, and like sometimes just sleeping just to sleep because that's the
Yeah.
only thing, there's nothing else that he feels like he wants to do. So I feel like that was my favorite part, which is probably the most bizarre part of the album, was just like how quiet the vocals are, because that's usually like I usually listen to stuff and it's like the vocals are right up in your face, and
Yeah.
and even if you don't know what they're saying, you can still feel them. But in this way, it was like kind of feeling them by not feeling them is
Mm-hmm.
kind of weird. But yeah, really cool. And there's also some really like he has a few like interludes on here between the heavy songs, and they're really pretty as well. So there's definitely some softer spots on the album, but yeah, if you want something with some heavy guitars and some really cool like builds, like, and like kind of things coming together, climaxes,
Mm-hmm.
is good album for that. I think I'd like genre wise, this is like uh I don't know. You could say like post metal or some kind of, or like, doom gaze. So it's like
Doom
kind of like doom
gaze.
metal guitars. So like some like kind of sleep heavy guitars, but more of like faster pace, and then like shoegazy stuff in there too. So I guess that's how I describe it. But
Okay.
yeah, really
That
good,
sounds
good
sweet.
album. Yeah, I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars.
All
So
right. Hell yeah.
yeah, good, pretty good stuff. So good, pretty good for 8 years. 8 years later,
Yeah.
which that's a long time. There's some artists like Frank Ocean who I'm
Yep.
waiting. Like his last album was 9 years ago, I'm pretty sure. So I'm like, there's still artists like that. I'm still
Right.
waiting,
And
not getting
before
new
that,
music.
it was about the same amount of time. So you know,
Yeah, crazy.
uh,
Yeah. So,
yeah, nuts.
but yeah, I mean,
I have to I have a follow up too from a previous topic
yeah.
we were talking about because um I was in Cincinnati over the weekend
Okay.
and I somebody told me about Touchdown Jesus, not the
Yeah.
band, because in
What?
Cincinnati, outside of Cincinnati, next to one of the roads, there used to be a giant statue of Jesus doing the touchdown pose, like that.
Oh,
And I was like, "What? That's a thing?"
okay.
Because we were talking about landmarks, and I was like the band
Yeah.
Touchdown Jesus, and he goes, "No, there used to be a statue," and he didn't know what the band was, and I was like, "Well, there's a band,"
That's
and
crazy.
so but the legend is that there was this giant, touchdown Jesus, right, statue, and they got hit
Mhm.
by lightning and burned down. And so that's like why it's an iconic thing. It might have
Wow.
been rebuilt, but I don't think he's doing the touchdown pose anymore.
Not as cool.
So there you go.
That's something Jesus would totally do.
Yeah.
Like, why not build it the same? But see, that is actually really cool because and Touchdown Jesus, the band is from
Yeah.
Cincinnati, so
So
they
you would
definitely
assume that
named
named
themselves
after that. Yeah.
after that. Yeah. So look at them, culturing us
Yeah.
on Cincinnati without us even knowing,
Cincinnati
and then
landmarks for sure.
your buddies were like, "What the hell are you
Yeah.
how are you band name themselves Touchdown Jesus?
Yeah,
That's crazy. But
great band.
their,
But
their
yeah,
music,
it's
their music suits them. So
yeah,
or suits their name. But yeah, they just we talked about it. They had a good, really good EP last month or April. So you definitely go check that out too. Um, but that's really cool. Now I'm sad though it's not there anymore. I would have loved to. We
yeah.
could have made a trip. Could have made a trip to the Touchdown
To like
Jesus.
a pilgrimage, you might say.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
instead, we will have to take our pilgrimage to space.
I
Oh wait,
I'll say this.
pause.
I really hope that it pause the space. If we ever go see them, they better have some merch with the
Oh yeah,
with the
dude.
with
That
the
yeah. I'm
with
stunned that
them.
they don't have that on any of their like
Right.
album art or anything. Maybe they do, and I just haven't realized.
Wait.
But
Yeah. Let me check
I
this.
mean,
'Cause maybe it's on their EP cover or something.
we just had no idea because we didn't know what it was, at the time.
Yeah. I'm just like that's a normal thing.
Yeah, it's just
Uh,
they've got that
I'm not.
weird red thing on one of their, but
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe not.
one of the old ones maybe.
Nah. I'm not seeing it.
Okay.
Maybe their first album. They'll put that on
Yeah,
there. So,
they need to reveal the truth. Where did
hmm
you get this name? Well, anyway, yes,
You see it
let's
here.
get on our rocket and escape into the atmosphere,
Oh yeah.
and tell me about what's going on.
Yeah. So I saw there's a private Japanese spacecraft landing on the moon this week. Which, that's always cool, getting new stuff going to the moon. But what I thought was really cool about it was that the location that it's landing on in the moon is called the Sea of Cold.
Hmm.
And that's just like a badass name. That sounds like a band name from like the 2000s or something, or some like Midwest emo band would name themselves the Sea of Cold, but I'm not exactly sure what their so the private company's name is iSpace,
Okay.
um, but I'm not exactly sure what their purpose is for like going to the moon, like what their goal is. I don't know if it's just to like land on the moon or if it's all some like scientific reason to um, you know to run some experiments or
Mm-hmm.
I'm not exactly sure, but always really cool to get new things going to the moon. Just had China up there and then Japan's going up there. And this is like a private company too, so it's not even like I don't know if Japan has
Hmm.
like their version of NASA at all. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
sure how big they are into the the space.
You would think they would be into that.
Yeah, yeah, because their tech is always like
Yeah.
so. I feel like their tech is awesome. So yeah, you would think they'd be in there some way, which they obviously are, at least privately. I don't know, but I don't know if they have like a
Yeah.
government entity like funding them or doing other things with space. But I'm sure there's got to be some kind. Like I feel like you can't just like ignore space. You got to have some kind of space agency for your country because in that, especially now with it even being more of a like space force thing where it's like
Yeah,
you know
military.
there's military on the ground, but yeah, you got military up in space now, so you got to protect
Yeah.
yourself.
I think but you're right, like Sea of Cold does sound like an album name, of like the
Yeah.
whole little and then it comes in I'm thinking like not oh what's that like, some stoner metal in there and it's like
Oh yeah, I can see
yeah,
that.
like some sleep. It's
Sure.
really
Yeah,
slow.
some sleep. Yeah, they're putting you in a cold nap.
Yeah, see.
That's so
Oh,
cool.
cool.
Yeah, because in
Yeah.
the Dope Smoker album, they're going through this like desert,
Yeah.
but now this time they're going through the Sea of Cold. So
Yeah. That'd
you
be
know,
sweet.
hey, they have an album called like The Sciences, and that's got like an astronaut on
Oh yeah.
the front of it, and but the astronaut has like he's like instead of like he has like a
Yeah.
weed setup, too. He's like flown around in space, but still he's getting high.
They have their brand, okay? But
Yeah, they gotta put that in there. But yeah, maybe we gotta pitch that to them too. That's a band that's another band that is they put out an album in like 2018, but they haven't, you know, their other bands are doing stuff. Why can't we get some,
Yeah.
Matt Pike, the guitarist, his birthday was yesterday, and his other band, High and Fire, they just put out an album last year. Like we need some,
Yeah, what
which
the
is
heck?
good, but it's not Sleep though. It's not the same
Yeah.
same kind of stuff as Sleep. So
I'm we're just spoiled by, bands like King Giz that have occasionally made 5 albums in a year, and they were all good. And that
ruins my standards. It
it
ruins my
does.
standards for these
It
bands. It's
does.
hard.
I expect a new
Um,
album every few weeks. Like, is that too much to ask? Like,
yeah, and last year was a down year for them too. They
yeah,
only had the one album, right? Just the
two,
one,
right?
I think.
Two.
Yeah, they also were touring a ton, so I don't blame them for only putting out two albums.
Yeah.
Crazy,
And they have the
crazy.
one that comes out next week. So
Yeah, is
just
it next week already?
yeah, it
Jeez.
is June. Yeah.
Oh, I'll just say this, just another, because we talked about them. We talked about Tropical Fuckstorm
Yeah.
last week, right? I listened to one of their song, their like newest song, the Dung. I don't even know what the hell it was called.
Yeah.
It was one of the weirdest songs I've ever heard, but it was a fun time. So
Yeah.
I'm like, that album's coming out in a few weeks too. So I was
Yeah.
like, what
No,
the
that's it.
pick
Like
them
half of the
up.
songs, I'm like, this is like really cool and like funky and like groovy, and then half of the songs are like really uh, like out there and different than other stuff, and
Yeah,
like atonal. Like a lot of it's atonal.
yeah. This song looked like the album cover, like it looked like a nightmare or something,
Yeah.
But it was good. It was a good time. I just, I was a little scared listening to it. So,
Apparently,
um,
though, like I've seen people say their live shows for that band are just like incredible and
oh
like
really?
insane.
I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. If they're like King Giz, they're probably
Yeah.
jamming
Oh yeah.
and party, big old party. But yeah, I guess back to the space stuff
Okay.
though. I just wanted to highlight that moon landing. Thought that was cool. Another thing, you know, humanity, might only have one solution for survival. Granted, this
Mm.
is like 4.5 billion years later, so we probably wouldn't even be exist anymore. I'm assuming something probably
But you might.
happened.
You might not.
I'm,
But I'm
I'm
still be
not. I'm not.
around. I'm gonna be
You're
around.
yo. You're gonna be a little cyborg.
Yeah.
It's like,
In Doctor Who, there's like this dude that's immortal, and
mm,
like he's a human guy, but he just like gets these enzymes on him that like he can't die. And then they meet him way in the future, and he's just like, and then like this is in a total different season. Like you have no idea it's this guy. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like random, and
mm,
then
yeah.
he's just a spat of skin like stretched out with his face on it, and then
What
it's
the
just like this.
hell?
It's like a wallpaper of skin with his face, and
That's
yeah,
like a that's insane. That's
and
like
then
a autopsy death metal album cover or
yeah,
something. Like
no,
that's creepy.
it's crazy. But yeah, it's like this. Like, why is he like that? But yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, tell me more about humanity's only solution.
Yeah. So, so in like 4.5 billion years, the sun is essentially going to start dying and turn into like a giant I guess, yeah, turn into a red giant sun, which will like engulf. It'll be so big that it engulfs like Mercury, Venus, and then it won't engulf, the size of it won't engulf Earth, but we'll be so close to it that Earth will just like vaporize. And then so it's like, all right, Earth is gone
Does that
in
wait? So, okay,
space.
does this happen
Mhm.
gradually, or does it just like 4.5 million
It's
years is gonna go, and then
it will be gradually, just because like time is such a
yeah,
crazy thing. Yeah, it won't be like a like super like kind of like a like instantaneous thing. It will be like, I don't know, like the in terms of years how long like a process like this
I mean,
takes, but it
is that
shouldn't be
like kind of happening right now?
insane.
Is the Earth or is the sun like very, very, very slowly
No,
expanding?
no, no. It's just, I think it's once it like kind of runs out of fuel, then it kind of like it's kind of like a car, like the car is going to keep going and you're not going to notice anything until it runs out of fuel, and then you're screwed and you can't drive anywhere. So
Interesting.
yeah, but yeah. So once we get to that point, though, it's like, all right, well, say we can only stay in the solar system. We don't have like I'll say this: if it's like 4.5 billion years, and we don't have technology to just be going wherever we want to go, like at Star Trek, we have failed as a species. Evolution, we did not, we failed evolution. We didn't get where we were supposed to. Um, but maybe things like that just physically are not possible, and everything's sci-fi, and we're just bound to this solar system. Who knows? But say we could potentially, I think I've talked about some of these ice moons, like around Jupiter and Saturn, and then around Jupiter specifically is Europa. So at least where Jupiter is, there, like from the distance from this red giant sun to where the Jupiter's moon is, it might actually be in the habitable zone. So
Hmm.
where the habitable zone is, you're at a distance far away, where you can have water and all the things you need for life, essentially. And you're on an ice moon, so it already has ice. It's just like
But
not livable.
does it have like the atmosphere we would need?
No, no. So it's like living on the moon, pretty much.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I'm not sure exactly how that. Yeah, because it'd be kind of like an ocean, because there are like ocean planets, not in
Hmm.
our solar system, but that is a thing. So it'd be kind of like a little ocean planet. But I haven't looked into like ocean moons. I don't know. That's an
Yeah,
interesting
would the
thing.
water just come off of it?
Yeah, I don't know how that would, because it's also rumored, or highly hypothesized that under these under the ice on these moons is actually an ocean,
Hmm.
but we don't. They're doing missions right now to get proof of that, but that's not something we have at the moment. So there might already be some things down there that
Yeah.
could
Well, and
sustain life,
that's
but
kind of like, an atmosphere in its own way, right? Like having the ice cover the ocean, right? And beneath it
yeah,
is very
yeah,
similar to the way here on Earth we're protected by, the atmosphere, right? And ours is air,
hmm,
but there it could be ice, right?
yeah. Yeah, it's like a little Atlantis down there.
Yeah.
We could get some set up, but that's really our only option, I guess. Like something like that is our only option,
Well,
for like finding a planet to actually,
within the
or
solar
finding
system.
a location to live on in our solar system. Yeah,
I
when
would
that
I would
does.
hope within the next 4.5 billion years, our
Yes.
technology allows us to leave the solar system. I know that that is a big step, but you would hope that at some point we are able to do that.
Yeah. Well, you would think, I guess what you would think, or I guess this probably is what would happen, is that you know, you would know this is happening. We know this is happening, of course, billions of years ahead,
Hmm.
So you would definitely try to get a head start of like leaving the planet. And, we'd probably have some exoplanets like listed out. But the issue with that is like these are like light years ahead. So if you don't have like technology to like go close that
Hmm.
speed, you're going to just be drifting out in space for forever. So you got to figure out a way to, I guess, be able to do that and sustain humanity, and like be able to still have food for people on board and like make food that
And
way.
and
So
like I kind of think that the idea of that, like having humanity like on a or like large communities of people live on uh like a spaceship that's flying and just floating through space.
yeah,
I think that's probably more realistic or like closer to
yes,
where we are now than going and inhabiting another place, right? You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah. Because you'd want to find a place. You don't have a place that's very similar to
Yeah.
Earth, of course. 'Cause, you know, from what we've seen, where Earth is really the only planet like how it is. So we definitely, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't. So, but with how big the universe is, there's got to be more like it. You know, they found some that might be like it, but they don't know for sure
And
yet.
plus,
So
if we can, get ourselves to breathe under the water of Europa, maybe there's other ice planets like that, and we can
yeah, we can
adapt.
like kind of hop from one to, because that wouldn't be like a temporary solution at all, because eventually the star is gonna die, and it's just gonna be.
But again, you would hope that in the billions of years until that point,
Oh
we
yeah,
would,
that's a lot of time.
yeah,
Yeah, like
there's
because
a lot of things
Earth is
that are gonna
only,
happen on Earth too in between now and then.
yeah, because um, because Earth has only been around for 4.5 billion years,
Yeah.
so we're not even like halfway through.
Oh, so we're halfway. 4.5
Oh
billion.
yeah, I guess yeah, 4.5, 4.5, yeah, yeah. So we're halfway
Wow.
through Earth, not through humanity's
No,
existence,
but
but
through this
through
planet.
Earth. Yeah, so it's he's
Wow.
middle aged too, or
Wow.
she's middle aged. I don't know, or Earth boy or girl. I don't know.
45.
Yeah.
Earth is 45. That's crazy. Think about that in human years.
Yeah.
One human year is, you know, a tenth of a billion years. So, I mean, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
It's
That's
crazy.
it.
Crazy to think about things like that.
Time is insane.
But
Time is
good,
crazy.
good way to end it, and on like this
Yeah.
kind of mind bending and literally extraplanetary
Existential,
existential.
like,
Yeah, I
where
mean,
is humanity going to
where
be
where are we
when
gonna
our sun
be?
grows
The life
and
of our planet
is
is
red?
half over, but
Yeah.
also has half to live. You know, you can be
Yeah.
optimistic there and say,
Well, and you got to think about it this way too. For humanity's time on Earth, we're not halfway over. We're
no,
just
we're just
we're
getting
just getting
started.
started.
Yeah,
Yeah. So we got time. We got time.
yeah.
So
Let's hope.
yes.
But
Yeah.
anyway,
Hopefully nothing else happens that affects all that. So.
anyway, good stuff. That sounds like a great time. I think I mean, we've talked there. There is that meteor that has a chance of hitting Earth at some point. But
Yeah. Hey, so we've shown some technology to we can like blow up a
yeah,
meteor.
yeah,
I don't know
but
about that
whatever.
size.
I've
Yeah.
seen the Don't Look Up movie. You know, they launch rockets and they turn around because they're. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't seen
Oh,
that.
dude, you should watch that. It's good. It's good
Sure.
on Netflix, I think. But okay,
Mhm.
we'll go ahead and wrap up. Thanks for listening, and cheers, everybody.
Cheers, everyone.